Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 P's for pre-transplant preparedness. Now, try to say that 5 times and we'll be right back.
Hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle. I really appreciate you being here with me on the program today. And by the way, if you're one of those people who likes to comment beneath these videos, and many of you do, stick around to the very end. I'm going to be actually reading a few of your comments here in front of everybody, trying to share with those who are not familiar with that just how great this community has become. Now, with that said, today we are discussing the 5 P's for pre-transplant preparedness. And yeah, that's tough to say, even though I kind of came up with it. But nonetheless, when you're thinking about being a pre-transplant patient, someone who maybe, for example, just heard the horrifying news that transplant was going to be the next step in their life, I know how that can feel. I know the anxiety, the fear, the apprehensiveness, the whatever you want to call that emotion that comes along with that, that can make things pretty difficult, at least for a time. And so I thought if I put together a list maybe of these 5 things to help you get your mind right, wrapped around what's coming, and then to give you a few steps to take as you go through the process, maybe that would make life a little bit easier. And by the way, if you're a post-transplant patient, I encourage you to stick around as well, because maybe these are some things you can jot down in the back of your mind and share with someone maybe in clinic who is on that other side of transplant opposite of you. But nonetheless, here we go. I'm going to give you these 5 words. Number 1, it's the word peace. That is, you have to be at peace with where you are right now in your life. Now, I get it. It's difficult to do. You go through life. Maybe you live all your life like I did as a congenital heart patient, basically in heart failure, and things are not always easy. So you kind of progressively get into the position that you're in now, needing a transplant. Maybe you're the opposite of that. Maybe you're someone who, had some sort of attack, whether it be a heart attack or, just a battle with your kidneys or whatever the organ is of failure that came about. And maybe that came about very suddenly. And so now this is all an overwhelming shock for you. It really catches us all off guard. Nonetheless, I can remember back when I first heard the word transplant being mentioned not too long after one of my earlier heart caths. That tore me to pieces because I didn't know what to think. But at the end of the day, you got to put aside your anxiety, your fears, that sort of thing, at least slide them over a little bit and make room for some peace. Okay, peace is not the absence of the storm. It is the way you handle your life in the midst of the storm. Now keep that in mind. But you got to come with some peace and just say to yourself, you know what? Even as difficult as this is, as scary as it is, I've got to know this is where I'm at right now. So right now in the moment, this is where I have to live. And I want to encourage you to do that. So number 1, have peace. Number 2, be willing to be a participant. Okay, be a participant. What I mean by that is, don't try to go this alone. Don't try to be the loner that just sits back, and I'm guilty of this as well, but just sits back in your own little pity party corner, maybe laying up in your bed or your recliner, concerned, worried, overwhelmed by what's happening, and feel like, I just got to do this by myself, because you do not. There are so many communities out there available of people who have done what I like to say has been there and doing that. People just like some of you who are watching this video, you're already past transplant now. You've gone through the most difficult days of the hearing the news and the waiting and the surgery, and you're kind of on the upward climb of the mountain. Things have gotten better for you. If you're a pre-transplant patient, you need to be at peace with yourself, but be willing to participate with others who have gotten to a certain place. And there are many ways to do that now, thankfully. The Transplant Help community right here is one of them. When you comment beneath these videos, I read all the comments. I reply back to as many as I can. And by the way, toward the end of this video, I'm going to be highlighting a few of those comments, sharing them with you as a viewer so that you can understand the types of things that we do beneath these videos and how encouraging that place can be. But you can join many a thing. You can join face-to-face groups. Your transplant centers probably offer such. You can join Facebook groups, particularly those private groups. Great places to find help, to find encouragement, to find sometimes information, to be able to see articles being posted, stories being shared. All that's an encouragement. There are more online groups outside of Facebook, things such as Second Chance secondchancetransplants.com, which has kind of been partnering with me in doing these programs for this year. Things like the Transplant Cafe is becoming an enormous group of people who are putting together and pooling their resources to really make an online community where we can find these types of things. Just great resources are available, and you need to be participating in those things. Don't try to go this alone. That's my number one thing that I tell everyone. Don't try to go this alone. You need help. Take help and participate. Now, number 3, not only peace, participation, but become a partner. And I know that sounds a little bit like participation, but this is for a different reason. Be a partner with your team. When you go in and you sit down with what might be your very first time or even multiple times in with your transplant team, take time to get to know them. Take time, if you can encourage them to do this, and they won't always do so, but try to get on a first name basis. At least let them call you by your first name. Make them get to a place where it feels personal to them, where they feel like that you as a patient are in partnership with them for your care, okay? And I'm seeing a lot of people, and I may do an entire video on this at some point later, I'm seeing a lot of people actually who I think are getting poorer, if that's the word, at least less quality care than they should right now post-transplant, because they really didn't build the relationship or the partnership with their team going into the process. You need to convince them that they are your friends and you are theirs, because you know as well as I do, the people who treat us best sometimes are our genuine friends. Those are the people who go out of their way to do for us and we for them. Make your team your friends. Be partners with them. I think that's going to be vital with your care, especially if you're looking for what you deserve, which is that highest quality of care. That'll earn you callbacks when you need them. That'll earn you appointments when you have to have them. That'll earn you just all sorts of services that are not necessarily the types of things that can be paid for by your insurance, but things that you're going to need. So be in partnership with them. Number 4, I think this is, at least number next, be personal. And I mean by that, be personal, especially when you do go in with your teams. So when you're sitting down with them, tell them how you really feel. Don't be afraid to share your feelings, to share your emotions. And if you're talking about your physical well-being especially, be able to tell them, I feel like this, thus, and so when this happens. You know, draw for them a picture of what your life is really like. And even on the other side of that, the emotional side, if you are not satisfied, now listen carefully, if you are not satisfied with their care, at any point, especially pre-transplant, that's the place to share that, okay? Be personal with them. Tell them, look, I'm not happy with the way that these visits are going. I'm not happy with the way that things are being explained to me, or probably the lack thereof. I'm not happy with my care. And don't be afraid to do that, because in our world that we live, and I don't promote this ever, but honestly, in our world that we live, there are other places to go to get transplants, okay? There are teams out there across the United States, and I don't encourage anyone to go any farther than they have to, but there are teams out there that are much more caring, much more compassionate, much more concerned with you than maybe the team that you have now. But you can fix that if you'll go in and be personal with them. And I mean by that physical side, flipping it back over, and I know I've already been physical, emotional, back to physical, if that made any sense, but back on that other side, you need to know your body. Be personal with your body. Know what your heart rate is. Know what your blood pressures are supposed to be. Know what your blood sugars are. Learn to get a grasp on yourself, so that when something starts to feel different in your life, you can express that immediately. And so that when they see numbers that to them don't seem like a very big deal, maybe you can help them to see them as a big deal. For example, right now, as a post-transplant patient, my resting heart rate now runs about 96, okay? I go into clinic, maybe the nurse or the tech right there checks my heart rate and says, wow, your heart rate's a little up today. I say, no, my heart rate's not up. It's about average for now. Opposite of that, pre-transplant, when my heart rate ran, harder to say than the title, I guess, but when it ran in the 60s, they would look at that and say, well, your heart rate's a little bit low today. No, it's not. That's where mine is supposed to be. But you got to know that. You got to know, again, your blood pressure, your blood sugars, your heart rates, your weight is important. Just know the stuff. Be personal with yourself and share that personally with your team. Number 5 here, in the very last one, that is be a provider, okay? I don't care if you are pre-transplant. Right now is the time for you to start providing help and assistance to other people. I never felt good about the transplant process in the very beginning until the moment when I decided, you know what, when I'm in clinic, and I was in clinic almost every week, when I'm sitting across the aisles there from a person that maybe I see there every week or at least pretty often, I decided, hey, let's move over there by them. Let's sit down. Let's see where they are on this journey. Let's compare notes. Let's help one another, and let me provide for them some encouragement, because just conversation is encouraging. I talk on the program here all the time about how I like to advocate, educate, and motivate. Many of you are motivated just in the fact that we get to sit down and talk twice a week. And I, the same from you. If you contact me on Facebook or Twitter or through these comments or whatever, I'm encouraged by that, and you become a provider for me. And then take it to the level as you go through the journey, and the more experience you have, share your experiences, because no matter where you are on this journey, I promise you can help someone else. I hope this part of the program so far has helped you out. Remember, what we gave is information here. Be at peace, be a participant, be a partner, be personal, and be a provider. And I promise that will help you through this journey, especially in the pre-transplant side of things. Now, with that said, I'm going to grab my phone right here, because I want to share with you some of the comments we received over the last, I picked these out over the last week, but anyway, I want to share these with you. I'll try to pop them up here on the screen somewhere right here. Maybe they'll come up. Just so you can get some insight as to what often happens in the comments. And if you want to leave a comment today, it'd be perfect. You have a question, something you just want to share, great time to do that. Again, I always read those comments. I always reply back. And the better part is the community will reply back many times and give you a lot of assistance. This first comment here comes from, and I may misread some of these names, and I apologize. This first comment comes from James Gleason. He had just watched my video, 10-year-old's organs stolen, harvested without permission, and that was kind of a terrible headline that was out there. If you hadn't seen the video, I'll link it up here. But he says, Jim, excellent job explaining in detail and with compassion and prayer the story behind this misleading article by a reporter that clearly was baiting for readers. Keep up the good work. And he says, Jim. Of course, his name is James. Maybe you're Jim too. James, tell me, are you Jim too? But anyway, but good work. Appreciate that comment. That's so much encouraging to me, to be able to see someone who, I can tell took a view at the video, and in this case particularly saw the aim I had with the video, which was to try to bring some compassion to this grandmother while bringing understanding to the transplant community that this article here was difficult. At least it may have been misrepresented in the mainstream media. Anyway, next comment here. This was on a video called How Much Prograft Do I Take? It comes from, and this, I'll mess this up, but I apologize. You'll see it on the screen. It comes from J. Marie Bradley, and sometimes these aren't real names anyway. They're just, a code or something, alias. But from J. Marie Bradley, she just simply says, I love your channel. Lots of hearts, faces, and emojis, prayers, thumbs ups, whatever. A lifesaver. God is good. Absolutely, Miss Bradley. God is certainly good, and I appreciate you watching the program. I hope that one that you did watch there about the Prograft really helped you out, because understanding the levels of Prograft that we need in our bodies and how that always doesn't compare with our neighbor is probably a good thing. Next comment here, and I won't do too many of these, but I know. The scandal of big pharmaceutical companies. And this was kind of one of the story behind videos. The thumbnail, I had a book up in front of my face, and I was telling a story, but Bucky for Life. Bucky for Life makes a lot of comments. Great person. Bucky for Life says, love the way that you live in the South, or that we live in the South, I should say, and get our Z-Packs here. Laugh out loud. Your videos are great, man. And of course, a part of that video, I'll link it up here, you can watch it, was about how I went into the doctor, and basically without being examined at all, they threw a Z-Pack at me like he was throwing at everybody up and down the hall that day. And it is kind of a joke. You can get a Z-Pack, a Zithra, I can't say it today, azithromycin. It's an antibiotic. You can get one of those thrown at you over nothing. And here in the South, a lot of times that's what happens. We go into these small town busy doctors, and they'll throw that at us. But anyway, shout out to you, Buckeye for Life. Absolutely appreciate you watching the video. Next one here, the unsuccessful transplant, is the video this comment came in on. Ann Havel, which is a great friend of the program. Hey to you, Miss Ann. Ann Havel says, very informative. Thanks for all you do. Very simple comment, but again, it encourages me, and it gives me the strength to encourage you. To be honest with you, back on Monday of this week, I got up that morning knowing I needed to shoot a video for Tuesday. Again, I try to do Tuesday and Thursday, and I just didn't have it in me. And then someone during the day, not this comment, but thanks for it anyway, but someone during the day sent me a pretty lengthy message and comment, really lifted me up. And the next thing you know, I've grabbed the camera and the mic, and hey, we filmed the video for this week. So thank you for your encouragement there, Ann Havel. Now, this is a little bit lengthier one here. What supplements can we take after transplant was the name of the video. Great friend of the program, Katie Weens, which comments often. Katie's been a winner of a few of our drawings lately, which, by the way, there's still a drawing coming up here in another week or so for the Transplant Helper t-shirts. This is not one of them, but for the 2019 Transplant Helper t-shirts, I'll have some VOG mask available at that time. Just a lot of things. We're going to be giving away an eye mask, which I'm going to be reviewing on the program here in a day or two. Hope that you'll just be ready for all of that. Anyway, if I can read this right, and you'll have it on the screen so you'll know my dyslexia is taking over. But Katie says, as always, great video, great topic. Kind-hearted folks are always trying to get me to try this and to try that, especially when I have bronchitis. It is perfectly safe. It is herbal, all natural, they say. Herbal, natural, doesn't mean that it won't interact negatively with your medications. Right there, Katie, you are spot on. Just because something is herbal or natural doesn't mean that it won't, just for lack of better terms, jank our medications up. So we've got to be cautious about that. Katie, I appreciate you pointing that out. She goes on to add here, remember that most medications originate with a natural form, and that doesn't mean they are safe for us to take. It is the same with essential oils as they absorb through the skin, travel through your body. Your team will know which are safe and which are not specific medications, safe or not for specific medications that you're personally on. See, I told you I can't read. With words on the wise words on this topic, always check with your team. Thanks, Jim. You're amazing. Katie, again, you are amazing. And we've got the double heart symbols, the recycle symbol there. Katie, you're just a tremendous encouragement there. And one last one here. Can I travel after transplant? Isabella, and Isabella, I would love to be able to learn to say your name. If you want to send me a message on the private message thing, send an audio message, tell me how to say your last name because I'm about to mess it up really bad. But Isabella, no, I'm not even going to try. I'm smarter than that. She's Canadian, by the way. But Isabella says, thanks for your video, Jim. I've recently been considering travel for just a few hours away in a car, but wasn't 100% sure if it was okay post-transplant. She's about 5 months out. My team says it would be okay, but I'm worrying about the invitations from friends to go see concerts and shows, just go to crowded places as they usually are. With your experience, what would you respond to them at this stage, basically is what she said. Well, I gave her a response then. I won't repeat that here. I may do a video on that before long, but I would say this, if you're not ready to go, don't go. And it doesn't matter who your friends are and what they're inviting you to do. If you don't feel comfortable and safe in an environment, don't go. This is life or death for you. It may be, catching a cold for them. It could be a big deal for you. So, use your caution. That's enough for today. I know this program's run doubly long because I did the video. Now the shout out / comments here. Let me add a couple right here, though. I almost forgot. Please, please, please keep in your prayers Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson is having a very difficult time right now. He's actually got the stomach virus, what it turned out to be. They thought the flu, but he's been put in the hospital. Really, really struggling right now, so keep in your prayers. Also keep R. Kelly Wagner in your prayers. She had a car accident the other day and got banged up a little bit. Great friend of the program, so do you, R. Kelly. Is that your real name, by the way? But Kelly, thank you so much for being a huge supporter. I've rambled on long enough, so all of you, until next time, stay stronger, friends.